Okay, so on this first one, the computer might, if you're looking for help from them, they might show you the quadratic formula, and the reason why is the directions do say solve using the method of your choice, and so the section was focused on completing the square, so that's kind of how I'd prefer you to do it, but you could do the quadratic formula if you really wanted to, but that's taught in the next lesson. But to do the quadratic formula, the first thing we would do is, sorry about that, oops. What we want to do here is we'll start by subtracting 13 from both sides. So y squared minus 6y plus, and then we'll put a blank, equals negative 13. Then what we'll do is we'll take half of this and square that. So half of negative 6 is negative 3, and then when you square it, it becomes a positive 9, which I have to add to the right side also. And then this right here is going to factor into y minus 3 squared, and the right side is going to be negative 4. And then what we're going to do is we'll square root both sides, and so I have to put plus minus. So we'll get y minus 3 equals plus or minus, and so I'm going to have to get a 2i because I'm square rooting the negative. So that's where the I comes from. And then the last thing we'll do here is we'll add 3 and kind of squeeze it right there in front of the equal sign. So we should end up with y equals 3 plus or minus 2i. That answer is great. They might, if you don't have that symbol, the plus or minus on your homework, then you'll break it apart into two parts. So one with plus, one with minus. Okay. And then I have one more right here that was sent. And so this is almost kind of like the reverse. On this one, we square rooted both sides to solve right. And on this one, we're actually going to square both sides. And so we'll go ahead and square both sides here. So we'll end up with 14 minus 5x equals x squared. And then what we want to do is set this equal to 0 and solve. So what I'm going to do is we'll add 5x and we'll subtract 14 to both sides. So we're going to end up with a trinomial that will be factorable. So that all cancels out. So I'm going to put my trinomial right here. X squared plus 5x minus 14. I'll put equals 0 on the right side. Okay, so then this will factor into, let's see, what is that? X plus 7 and x minus 2 equals 0. So my possible solution set would be negative 7 and positive 2 when I solve those. That's what causes this to equal 0. Negative 7 would make this factor 0. Positive 2 makes that factor equal 0. Now I said possible solution because sometimes there's unintended consequences when you square both sides. And so sometimes you get solutions that when you check them, they actually don't work. So let's go ahead and check these. So let's see if x equals negative 7, and you always want to check it in the original one. So you want to plug it into the original one. So let's see, we're going to have the square root of 14 minus 5 times 7 equals negative 7. And so put a question mark there. We're not sure. So what happens here, oh yeah, that's a negative 7. Okay, so what happens here, so we're going to get the square root of 14, then this will turn into a plus 35 because of the minus 5 times negative 7. Then when we add that together, that's the square root of 49. The square root of 49 is 7, and that does not equal negative 7, so that is false. So that means that negative 7 actually cannot work. So now we'll go ahead and try 2. It's possible that they both don't work, but on most of the examples I chose, I believe at least one works in all of them. So we'll go ahead and try it though to make sure. So we're going to have the square root of 14 minus 5 times 2 equal 2. And so then we end up with the square root of 14 minus 10. 14 minus 10 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 does equal 2, so that one came back true. And so that answer does work, and you can see that they have that as their answer right there. So I hope that helps. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to shoot me an email.